Hey everyone, today we're going to be checking out another liquid cooling and heating mattress topper solution, but this time it is the least expensive one yet.
The HydroSnooze is a cooling and heating mattress topper that is literally hundreds of dollars cheaper than the next closest competition. They know that I'm really into budget and value, and this is why they reached out to sponsor this video so I could show you all about the cool tech and ways that they were able to make the HydroSnooze less expensive. Unlike some of the others, you don't need Wi-Fi to use this, there's no subscription fees, and it's very quiet under the bed. So if that sounds good to you, after this video, check them out in the link down below. And it's just super competitively priced. I mean, this is so much less expensive than the other options out there. And so if you're interested in getting into the space and trying out something like this to see if it might work for you, I think this is a really great option. One thing that's really nice is that they give you this travel bag for the topper itself. I actually recently moved, and so when bringing it to my new place, it was really easy to just open up and set up. There are only 5 instructions for the initial setup, and I'll just walk through them right now. First, you unscrew these end caps and then remove the sort of like blockers that they have to keep things safe during transport. Next, you take the tubes that are coming out of the mattress topper, you take out, once again, the kind of keep safe plugs, and then here you put the tube through the nut first, and then you attach the tube to the base unit itself. So this is important that you do this first because you can actually screw it on, otherwise you'd have no way to secure it, and then you just do this for the other side. One's an input and one's an output. Next, I removed the sheets from my bed and kind of just got the area ready, and then from there, I could just place the pad on top. It was super simple. You just kind of throw it on top and make sure that it's in a generally right area, and then you just put your sheet over when you're ready for that. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to show you most of it without the sheet on top, just so I can kind of explain what's going on. After that, all you need is some distilled water and hydrogen peroxide. You use 3 parts distilled water and 1 part hydrogen peroxide. So here I'm just filling up the measuring cup that I had around. It's 4 cups, so 3 cups of water, 1 cup of hydrogen peroxide, and then you just very slowly pour this into the little inlet area up top. It is very small and it does drain kind of slowly, so you do have to pour it quite slow, but essentially you just keep pouring it until it stops beeping an error signal at you, and then you're good to go. So now you can quietly hear some of the water getting pumped through these tubes and then going through the mattress pad. You can also see the water through these tubes here. So what I'm gonna do is reduce the temp pretty cold. Realistically, when I sleep, I don't actually like having it this cold. I like having it a little bit below room temperature because otherwise it kind of feels a bit jarring. So now you can see that it's sensing the actual temperature of the water that's coming back in through the loop, and then it's gonna go down over time as the water throughout the whole mattress pad gets cooled. There are 3 different modes too with cooling. So this is quiet cooling mode, this is standard cooling mode, and this is turbo cooling mode. And this is like the intensity of how much it's cooling. Like it's always gonna be cooling down to the set value, but this is just pretty much how fast it's gonna get to that value and how intensely it's gonna be trying to cool. Then if you press mode 1 more time, there's warm. Now you can see that it switched to the warm temperature. So I would have to set it to like 87 and it would be very warm in there. Because we just had it cooling, let's turbo cool down to like 60 degrees and see how cool the mattress feels. One of the ways that HydroSnooze got the price point as low as it is that this uses a more traditional tube water run system. So the tubes that you saw coming out of the base are the same tubes that are just going through the mattress in sort of this swirl zigzag pattern. And you can feel the tubes. That being said, the material of like the mattress pad itself is the most comfortable that I've tried of any of these different solutions. It uses much more of like a regular blanket style or mattress topper styled material, and it does a really good job of making me not mind the tubes as much as I would have. If this were made out of the same material that were in some of the competitors, they're more of like a meshy feel. I don't think it would be as comfortable, but with this material, it's actually the most comfortable outer layer. Personally, I wish more companies would switch to this type of outer material because it's just more comfortable than the other materials that other people are using. But let's say you don't care as much about the upper level comfort in the materials, and this is a bit more cozy feel, and you just want to maximize the cooling capabilities of this mattress topper. Well, the underside is actually a usable side too, and it's made of a cooling material. So you lose out on some of that cozy feel, but you get a cool to the touch experience that's very similar to those like cooling blankets or like cooling pillowcases, stuff like that. And the HydroSnooze is currently off right now, and this is actually still a little bit cool. And you can just flip it like this, sleep on this side, and you get the coolest possible experience with the HydroSnooze.
And because there's no grid system, the HydroSnooze is a bit more flexy than other mattress toppers that are cooling. You retain a lot more of the original mattress feel. It actually shocked me that those complaints that I had with other mattress topper solutions, the way that it changed the bed feel and the sort of the feel and the comfort of the material that you come in contact with, you know, right under your bed sheet. It's just really surprising to me that this less expensive option actually does a better job in some areas than most of the competition. So after 5 to 10 minutes, it went down to 63 degrees, and I can start to feel that this is cooling down. Now the cooling effect, because it's in those tubes, can be a little bit more subtle, and also that this material is more comfortable but also thicker. So I can definitely feel my body cooling down, but it is a bit more subtle. As far as if I'm feeling the tubing, a little bit, yes. The flexiness of the topper helps me feel it less, but if I'm like thinking about it, yes, I can feel a few of the tubes around my hips. My upper back area, I kind of just don't feel them very much. I've actually slept on the HydroSnooze for about a month, and I would say that I really don't mind the feel of the tubes. I never fully got to the point where I like didn't notice they were there. I'm very perceptive about like sensory things, but I would say that they very quickly didn't bother me. The fact that I had a comfortable feeling cooling mattress topper made it so I didn't really care about the fact that there were tubes in there. And the tubes, theoretically, should leak a lot less than those grid systems because it's a more robust material. I feel like if you live in either an extreme hot or an extreme cold environment, or you're just like a very hot or very cold sleeper, having something like the HydroSnooze is a game changer. And while there are a bunch of options out there, the HydroSnooze is the least expensive, true water cooling solution that I've seen. There are a few other things to keep in mind with a HydroSnooze. One is the location of where the water actually is coming in and out of the mattress. It's on the side rather than the head or the foot of the bed. So this is just something to keep in mind, where when you have your sheet over it, it does tuck it down. But if you roll over to the side and like, for example, swing over this way, you will feel it. It never got in the way for me, but it was something that I noticed and probably would prefer it to be at the foot or the head. Another way that the HydroSnooze reduced the price is by not having things like a smartphone app. So you have this remote if you want to control, for example, the temperature. You can see as I press down, it goes down, up, it goes up. And then I can also switch the different cooling modes or switch it to heating. I can also turn it on and off. I also have this mute button, which I ended up using. There's also a nighttime sleep phase mode where you can set different temperatures to have in different blocks of the night. So it's 4 hours, and then 30 minutes. So for example, you could have it at like 70 at the beginning of the night. You can move on to the next 4-hour block, bring that down to like 68. And then for the last 30 minutes of your sleep, you probably want to be a little bit warmer, so you can raise that up to 76. And then so you have this sort of like sleep schedule thing that some of the other competitors do, but at a fraction of the price. Once you have everything set, it does turn dark. However, there is like an internal like power on light somewhere that in pitch black rooms you can subtly see if it's out somewhere. So I did actually talk to HydroSnooze about this, and they said that they added the ability to turn that light off in versions that shipped after I got mine. And as you can see, when you put the sheet on, it's not noticeable at all. They do recommend you put a waterproof mattress protector below it. If you need one of those, I'll also put one in the link down below. But yeah, it just looks like a regular bed. And the side-mounted hoses are really not visible once the sheet is on. I also really like the different size options they have. They have king, split king, queen, and split queen. And so that covers most adults who are in this like range looking to buy something like this. And each of these configurations, from what I've seen, is a few $100s less expensive than the next closest competitor. What would be nice though is if the remote had a screen too, so I could tell what temperature I have it set to. Because sometimes I do like just having a manually set temperature even though there's a sleep schedule. I would like to just press the cool button a few times and just know what I have it set to. But for now, I would have to have the HydroSnooze somewhere close to my head so I could go down and look to see what it is. So I'm not one to sleep cold. So on all the ones that I've tested, heating is a secondary element for me. And I would say that's the same here. And while I do like having the ability to warm the bed, I use that way less than cooling because I sleep hot, and it is very, very rare that I wish I had a warmer bed, but this can do that too. So what do you think of the HydroSnooze? Have you been interested in a heating or cooling mattress solution? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much to HydroSnooze for reaching out and sponsoring this video so I could show you all this cool tech at a more affordable price. And I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching.